What's up, Broncos Country? You won't believe what just happened inside our locker room. While everyone was focused on the playoffs, our front office made a quiet move that could completely change the course of this season. I'm talking about a guy who's seen it all in this league, a veteran who has more experience than many coaches out there, and who now wears orange and blue. But hold on, before I reveal all the details, you need to understand the complete context of this signing, because this isn't just about football. It's about leadership, it's about winning mentality, it's about bringing someone who knows exactly what it takes to win when the pressure is at its peak. Our head coach just opened up about this recent acquisition, and his words made it clear that this move wasn't by chance. It wasn't desperation. It was pure strategy. And when you learn about this player's career, you'll understand why Broncos Country needs to be paying attention to this. This guy isn't just anyone. He's one of the most respected tight ends in recent NFL history, with longevity that defies all the statistics and probabilities of professional sports. So, hold on tight, Denver Broncos family, because today we're going to dive deep into this signing that could be the missing piece in our playoff puzzle. And look, I know many people might be wondering, why bring in a veteran now? Why not just bet on the young guys? Well, when you understand the philosophy behind this decision, you'll realize that our coaching staff is playing chess while other teams are playing checkers. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to show you exactly how this player can impact our offense, our offensive line, and especially how he can be the mentor our younger tight ends desperately need in this final stretch of the season. And believe me, what the head coach said about him will give you chills. Let's go! All right, Denver Broncos family, now let's get to the facts. The Broncos just signed Marcedes Lewis, and yes, you read that right, Marcedes with an E. This guy is 41 years old. 41! To give you an idea of what that means, when he entered the NFL in 2006, many of our current players were still in elementary school. Let that sink in for a second. We're talking about a tight end who's in his 20th season in the league. 20th season! That's not just impressive, that's almost supernatural when you think about the physical toll this sport takes. But here's what's most interesting. Broncos Country. Our head coach, Sean Payton, didn't bring this guy just to sit on the bench and pass wisdom at practice. No, he's already playing, already contributing, and apparently doing exactly what the coaching staff expected from him. Payton was straight to the point when asked about Lewis's performance. He said the veteran is doing exactly what was asked, that he's executing his responsibilities, and that he's been solid in his assignments. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but will he actually play a lot? Isn't he just an extra body on the roster? And this is exactly where it gets interesting, family. Payton made it clear that Lewis isn't just an emergency player. He's being used specifically in situations where his unique skills make a difference. And when you analyze what a veteran tight end brings to a team, especially one with 2 decades of experience, you begin to understand the genius of this move. Let's talk about what Lewis actually does on the field. He's no longer that athletic tight end who's going to run deep routes and make spectacular catches over the middle. Those days are gone, and he knows that better than anyone. But what he brings is something you can't teach on video or in the meeting room. He brings game knowledge. He brings refined blocking technique. He brings the ability to read defenses pre-snap and make instant adjustments. And check this out. Broncos Country. Payton mentioned that Lewis is being used in specific game packages. This means our coaching staff identified situations where having an experienced and reliable blocker makes all the difference. 3rd and short, Lewis might be there. Goal line situations where you need to open space for the running back, Lewis might be there. Critical moments where you can't have execution errors, Lewis will definitely be there. His experience is something that's simply priceless. Think about it. This guy has played more than 250 games in the NFL. He's faced every type of defense imaginable. He's played in decisive games, been in the playoffs, seen defensive schemes that don't even exist anymore. That kind of experience translates on the field in ways many people don't notice watching on TV. When Lewis is on the field, opposing linebackers need to respect the possibility of him being used in the passing game, even if he's no longer the first option. That opens space for other players. When he's blocking on the line, Defensive ends know they won't get past him with basic moves because he's seen everything. Literally everything, and there's more. Denver Broncos family. His presence in the locker room is something that doesn't show up in the stats, but every veteran coach values. Peyton isn't foolish. He knows that having a guy like Lewis talking with our young tight ends at practice, showing small technique adjustments, sharing how he stayed healthy for 20 years in this brutal league, all of that is worth gold. It's almost like having an extra assistant coach, but one who can also go on the field and show in practice what he's teaching. The timing of this signing also deserves attention. We're in the final stretch of the season. Every game matters, and the Broncos clearly identified that they needed more depth at the tight end position. Injuries happen. Fatigue happens. Having a reliable veteran who can come in and perform his role without needing weeks of adaptation is a luxury few teams have access to at this stage of the year. And look how interesting what Peyton emphasized. Lewis is doing what's asked. This might seem simple, but in the NFL context, where egos are huge and players sometimes try to do more than they should, having a veteran who understands his role and executes it perfectly is refreshing. He's not trying to prove anything to anyone. He doesn't need to. His career already speaks for itself. Let's put this in historical perspective for a moment. Broncos Country. Marcedes Lewis was drafted in the first round back in 2006 by Jacksonville. First round? That means at some point in his career, he was considered one of the best talents available. And even though he didn't become a Hall of Famer, the fact that he is still playing at a high level after almost 20 years shows rare dedication and professionalism. He spent most of his career in Jacksonville, where he became one of the franchise's most productive tight ends. Then he went to Green Bay, where he played several seasons and was part of an offense that was always among the league's best. More recently, he went through Chicago before arriving here. At each stop, he left his mark not just as a player, but as a leader and mentor. And here's something many people don't realize. At 41 years old, Lewis is probably in better physical shape than many 25-year-old players. He has to be. You don't survive 2 decades in the NFL without an absolutely impeccable training, nutrition, and recovery regimen. This guy knows how to take care of his body, how to prepare, how to recover between games. And that knowledge, believe me, he's sharing with our younger players. Peyton is known for valuing smart veterans. He's always had players on his teams with experience who could serve as extensions of the coaching staff on the field. Lewis fits that profile perfectly. He can make adjustments at the line without needing to look at the sideline. He knows when to audible a protection. He can communicate with the offensive line in a way that only comes with years and years of experience. Now, Broncos Country. Let's talk about what this means for our offense as a whole. When you have a reliable tight end who can block consistently, it opens up the entire playbook. Our offensive coordinator can call running plays knowing that the side where Lewis is will have solid execution. Can call play action knowing the fake will be sold correctly because the initial blocking was done right, and there's the intimidation factor too. Opposing defensive coordinators know who Marcedes Lewis is. They know he won't make silly mistakes. This forces them to play more conservatively in certain situations, which can open opportunities for our other playmakers. Another crucial point, mental resilience. Playing in the NFL is brutally difficult, not just physically but mentally. The pressure is constant, expectations are sky high, and one mistake can cost a game. Having a veteran who's been through all of this, who's played in hostile environments, who's faced adversity and kept performing, brings psychological stability to the whole group. Lewis also understands the game in a complete way that only comes with experience. He knows when a game is shifting momentum. He knows when the team needs a controlled drive to give the defense some rest. He understands clock management situations. All of this makes him more than just a player, makes him a true leader on the field. And let's be honest, Denver Broncos family, in a season where every game can define whether we make the playoffs or not, having this extra stability and reliability could be exactly the difference we need. I'm not saying Lewis is going to be the team's star or make spectacular plays every week, but he's going to do his job He's going to be in the right position, he's going to execute his blocks, and he's going to be a constant and reliable presence. And sometimes, especially in the final stretch of the season, that's exactly what a team needs. Now let me take a quick break here, Broncos Country, because if you're enjoying this content, if you want to stay on top of all the news, analysis, and behind the scenes of our beloved team, you already know what to do, right? Subscribe to the channel now, turn on the notification bell, because every week there's new content about the Broncos. And look, family, this channel only exists because of you, the Denver Broncos fans, who are truly passionate. So don't forget, subscribe, leave a like, and let's strengthen this orange and blue community. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. And now, Broncos Country, let's dive deeper into what this Marcedes Lewis signing really represents in tactical and strategic terms. Because it's one thing to talk about experience and leadership, which are important, of course, but another thing is to understand how this translates into concrete advantages on the field during the 60 minutes of the game. First, let's talk about the tight end room. Currently, we have some talented players at the position, but all relatively young in the league. Having Lewis in that group is like having a private tutor available 24/7. These guys can ask questions about any imaginable game situation, and Lewis will have an answer based on real experience, not theory. Think about this situation. You're a young tight end facing a specific linebacker who's giving you trouble with a particular shed block move. You go to the sideline frustrated, and there's Lewis, who's probably already faced that linebacker or at least seen that move hundreds of times. He can give you the exact adjustment right then that will make you successful on the next snap. That's invaluable. Additionally, Lewis brings a different perspective to team meetings. When the coaching staff is reviewing film and explaining concepts, Lewis can add context from the player's point of view, from someone who actually executed those plays in maximum pressure situations. This helps younger players understand not just what to do, but why to do it that specific way. Now let's talk about offensive schemes. Sean Payton is one of the most creative offensive coordinators in NFL history. He likes to use multiple formations, pre-snap movements, and create confusion in the opposing defense. Having a veteran tight end like Lewis, who can line up in multiple positions and execute different responsibilities, gives Payton more flexibility in the game plan. For example, Lewis can line up as an extra tackle in jumbo package situations, giving the offense one more blocker on the line. On the next snap, he can line up as an H-back in motion, forcing the defense to adjust. Then he can line up inline and run a route in the flat to serve as a safety valve. This versatility, combined with reliability, is extremely valuable, and there's more. In third down situations, which are absolutely critical in modern football, having players who don't make mental errors is crucial. Lewis won't run a wrong route, won't miss a block due to lack of attention, won't commit a silly penalty. This gives the quarterback one more option he can trust blindly in pressure moments. Speaking of quarterback, let's think about Bo Nix, our young signal caller. Having reliable veterans around him only accelerates his development. When Bo knows he can look to one side and be certain that Lewis will be in the right place doing the right thing, it reduces one variable of uncertainty in the equation. This allows Bo to play with more confidence and aggression. Another interesting dimension, Denver Broncos family, the physical conditioning issue. At 41 years old, Lewis obviously can't play 80 snaps per game, but he doesn't need to. In specific situations, he comes in, does his job, and goes out. This means he can give 100% effort on those snaps because he knows he'll have time to recover. This efficiency is something only veteran players truly understand. Let's also consider the special teams aspect. Even though Lewis isn't used extensively on special teams at this stage of his career, his presence on the sideline during those plays is valuable. He can observe the opposing defense, identify tendencies, and communicate that to the coaching staff and other players. These small details can make the difference between blocking a punt or not, between making the tackle on special teams or giving up a big return. And here's something I find fascinating. Broncos Country, the way veterans like Lewis handle adversity. There will inevitably be difficult moments in the rest of the season. There will be games where nothing is working, where we're losing, where the pressure is insane. In those moments, having a guy in the huddle who's been through this 1,000 times, who stays calm, who keeps doing his job regardless of the score, that spreads to the rest of the team. There's a concept in sports called leadership by example. Lewis is the personification of that. He doesn't need to make elaborate motivational speeches. He just needs to keep working hard, keep studying film, keep preparing with the same intensity he had 15 years ago. Younger players see this and think, if this guy who's done everything is still working like this, who am I to slack off? Now let's talk about something more subtle but equally important, pre-snap communication. In modern football, defenses are extremely complex. They disguise coverages, show pressures that don't come, make post-snap rotations. An experienced tight end can help the offensive line identify these things before the ball is snapped. Lewis can look at the defense and see something a young player wouldn't see, and make a call that adjusts the entire protection. This connects to another crucial point, penalty reduction. Penalties kill offensive drives. False starts, holdings, illegal formations. These things destroy momentum. Veterans like Lewis rarely commit this type of error. They know the rules intimately, know exactly what they can and can't do, and have the body control refined over years to execute technically correct. Let's also appreciate the depth this adds to the roster, Denver Broncos family. Injuries are inevitable in football. It's a violent contact sport where bodies are tested to the limit every Sunday. Having Lewis means that if any of our starting tight ends suffers an injury, there isn't a dramatic drop in quality. He can come in and maintain the level of execution, even if in a different role. And here's an aspect that might be the most important of all, the professional mentality Lewis brings. In the NFL, it's easy for young players to get distracted. Social media, the media, external expectations, all of this can take away focus. Lewis has been through all of that. He knows how to filter the noise and concentrate on what really matters, preparation and execution. This mentality is contagious. Also think about the impact this has on the rest of the locker room, not just the tight ends. The offensive linemen see Lewis and know they're blocking alongside a legend. The receivers see how he prepares and get inspired. The running backs see his blocks and know they can trust. Even the defense benefits, because when they practice against Lewis in training, they're going against someone who won't give anything away for free. Even in practice, another interesting element, Lewis's ability to play through pain. I'm not saying he's injured, but every NFL player is dealing with some level of physical discomfort during the season. Veterans have learned to manage this, to know the difference between being hurt and being injured, to keep performing even when they're not 100%. That's a valuable lesson for younger players. Let's also talk about the game planning aspect. When the coaching staff is preparing the weekly game plan, they can consult Lewis about opposing defense tendencies, especially if he's played against that team before. He can provide insights that don't appear on film, things like linebacker tells, how certain defensive coordinators call plays in specific situations. This type of game intelligence is gold. And there's the confidence factor, too. Broncos Country, when you're in a 3rd and goal at the 2-yard line, and you need to make that conversion to keep the drive alive. Being able to look at the huddle and see Mercedes Lewis there, knowing he's going to do his job, that gives extra confidence to the whole team. Nobody's going to be worried if he'll be in the right position or if he'll execute his block. They know it's going to happen. This also affects how opposing defenses prepare. They need to dedicate preparation time to study Lewis, understand how the Broncos use him, prepare adjustments. That's time they're not spending preparing other things. Every small advantage counts, especially in games decided by one possession. Another point that deserves attention, the way Lewis takes care of equipment, technique, small details. Successful veteran players are obsessed with details. Is the tape on the fingers right? Are the cleats in perfect condition? Is the hand placement technique refined? These details that seem small accumulate and make a difference over 17 games plus playoffs. And let's be realistic. Denver Broncos family in a league where parity is extreme, where any team can beat any team on any Sunday. Having advantages in any area whatsoever is crucial. Lewis gives us an advantage at the tight end position in terms of reliability and experience. And in a December game against a divisional rival, when it's cold, when it's windy, when every play matters, these advantages can be the difference between victory and defeat. Finally, there's the factor of how this impacts coaching. Peyton can concentrate on other areas, knowing Lewis will take care of his responsibilities. He doesn't need to micromanage that position, can dedicate more mental time and energy to developing other aspects of the offense. This makes the entire offensive operation more efficient. So when you put all of this together, Broncos Country, when you consider all these tangible and intangible aspects that Marcedes Lewis brings to the Denver Broncos, it becomes clear that this signing was much more than just adding a body to the roster. It was adding experience, leadership, reliability, and a winning mentality at a crucial moment of the season. So, Denver Broncos family, what did you think of this complete analysis about the arrival of Marcedes Lewis? I want to know your opinion. Do you think he'll have a significant impact on our playoff run? Do you see value in this type of veteran signing, or would you rather see more young players getting opportunities? Comment below what you think. And don't forget, if you're true Broncos country, drop that like, share this video with your Broncos fanatic friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates about our team. Every week there's deep analysis, hot news, and all the content the Denver Broncos family deserves. We're together on this journey to the playoffs. Until the next video, and may more victories come for our beloved orange and blue team. Go Broncos!